Night had fallen over Oakridge Springs like a dark and dense cloak, enveloping the small town in an almost palpable silence. The narrow streets, illuminated only by yellowish streetlights, seemed to hold ancient secrets between their irregular stones and century-old houses. Sister Elizabeth walked hurriedly, her footsteps echoing on the cobblestone pavement. Her black nun's habit swayed gently with each movement, contrasting with the paleness of her skin. Coming from the parish kitchen after preparing food for the poor's breakfast, she didn't notice the eyes watching her from the shadows. The attack came swiftly and unexpectedly. A dark figure emerged from the shadows, trying to overpower her with precise movements. Elizabeth felt her heart racing. Her reflexes from years of religious life made her react instinctively. But before she could scream, something extraordinary happened. A black wolf, majestic and imposing, emerged from the shadows as if it had been conjured by some supernatural force. Its eyes shone with an almost human intensity, reflecting an intelligence that went beyond the animal world. The attacker retreated, frightened by the unexpected appearance. The wolf didn't attack. It simply stood there, planted between Sister Elizabeth and her attacker, creating an impassable barrier. Its tense muscles, fur as black as a moonless night, conveyed an almost divine sense of protection. For a few seconds that seemed eternal, the animal stared at Elizabeth. There was something in its gaze that went beyond simple animal protection. It was as if it were transmitting an encrypted message, a silent warning that she couldn't decipher. When the wolf disappeared, Elizabeth noticed something engraved on the church wall. A strange symbol traced with almost mathematical precision. It looked like a code, an enigma waiting to be deciphered. The next morning, the news spread quickly through the town. Oakridge Springs, known for its tranquility and predictable routine, was about to plunge into a mystery that would forever change the lives of its inhabitants. Father Ernest was the first to be informed. A man of unshakable faith, but also endowed with a sharp intelligence, he knew that this event was not a simple coincidence. By his side, Isabella Montgomery, a local historian specializing in sacred art, observed the symbol with a mixture of fascination and concern. "I've never seen anything like it," Isabella murmured, her delicate fingers tracing the outline of the mysterious drawing. "It looks ancient, but I can't identify its origin." Father Ernest adjusted his glasses, analyzing every detail. Something told him that this symbol held secrets that could completely transform their understanding of local history. "We need to investigate," he said, breaking the silence that had formed. "This symbol didn't appear by chance." Isabella agreed, feeling that they were about to unravel a mystery that had remained hidden for generations. The Black Wolf, the attack on Sister Elizabeth, and that enigmatic symbol were just the beginning of something much bigger. The town of Oakridge Springs, asleep in its apparent tranquility, had no idea of the revelations that were to come. The following days in Oakridge Springs were marked by an almost palpable tension. The mystery of the Black Wolf and the strange symbol occupied conversations in cafes, the central square, and church corridors. Rumors spread like wildfire, each person adding their own fragment to the story. Isabella Montgomery spent hours in the dusty parish archives. Old documents, some almost illegible due to time, were carefully handled. Her experienced historian's hands separated each page, looking for any mention of the mysterious symbol. Father Ernest observed her dedication, admiring the young historian's determination. He knew that Isabella was not an ordinary person. Graduated in history from Stanford University, with a specialization in religious iconography, she had a reputation as a meticulous investigator. "Found anything?" he asked, breaking the silence of the archive. Isabella looked up, an expression of frustration mixed with intrigue. "Fragments, Father. Just fragments. But they're interesting fragments." On the table, some old documents revealed vague references, mentions of a secret society that had existed centuries before, linked to the structure of the local church. Pages had clearly been removed or torn out on purpose, creating intriguing gaps in the historical narrative. One manuscript in particular caught Isabella's attention. Dated 1823, it contained marginal notes written in almost illegible handwriting. Words like guardian, secret, and protection appeared in different passages without a clear context. That night, something extraordinary happened. The church bell began to toll by itself, without anyone having rung it. A deep metallic sound that echoed throughout Oak Ridge Springs, waking its inhabitants. Father Ernest and Isabella ran to the bell tower. The ancient stairs creaked under their hurried steps. On the floor, strange marks caught their attention. They weren't human footprints, nor those of any animal known in the region. "They're like claws?" Isabella whispered, kneeling to examine the marks. Among the colored stained glass windows, an ancient medallion rested mysteriously, as if it had been purposely left there. Its engravings were surprisingly similar to the symbol found near Sister Elizabeth. The tension was growing. Each discovery seemed to open more questions than answers. In the town, comments multiplied. Some spoke of the wolf as a supernatural creature, others as a divine manifestation. The only certainty was the fear that began to circulate in the eyes of the inhabitants. What did that black wolf want? Why did it appear at such specific moments? What was the meaning of that mysterious symbol? Father Ernest looked at Isabella, realizing that they were about to unravel a much bigger mystery than they initially imagined. "We need to follow every clue," he said, breaking the tense silence of the moment. Isabella agreed, feeling that each page, each symbol, each mysterious mark was leading them to something that was beyond their immediate understanding. The night in Oak Ridge Springs promised more secrets. The sun was slowly rising over Oak Ridge Springs, tinting the sky with orange and golden hues. In the municipal library, Isabella Montgomery carefully organized the documents she had managed to gather in recent weeks. Old maps, parish records, and fragmented manuscripts formed a mosaic of mysteries. Father Ernest arrived carrying an old folder found in a secret compartment of the church archives. His eyes sparkled with the expectation of an important discovery. "Look at this," he said, spreading the documents on the table. The papers revealed a complex history. Mentions of a secret society known as the Guardians of the Threshold dated back more than 2 centuries. They weren't just religious records, but something that seemed to transcend traditional understanding of faith. Isabella noticed something peculiar. Several pages had been deliberately torn, creating strategic gaps in the narrative. It was as if someone wanted to conceal crucial information. "Look at this passage," she pointed out, highlighting an almost illegible paragraph. "It speaks of knowledge too dangerous to be revealed, a secret that, if exposed, could shake the structures of reality." At that moment, one of the library staff approached, bringing an old envelope found among some recently donated documents. The envelope was addressed to a local priest, dated 1897. Inside, a fragile parchment contained a mysterious letter. The handwriting was precise, almost calligraphic, revealing a text that mixed warning and revelation. "To those who dare disturb, the balance know that the Guardian will always watch. The secret is not just information, but a portal between what is known and what must remain hidden." The mention of the Guardian made Isabella recall the Black Wolf. Could it be mere coincidence? As they discussed, a strange noise came from the street. People were running, voices mixing in a buzz of excitement and fear. Something had happened. Upon leaving the library, they discovered that the Black Wolf had been sighted again, this time near the old school, leaving inexplicable tracks that mysteriously disappeared. The local sheriff, Mark Oliver, a skeptical and pragmatic man, was trying to organize a group to investigate, but something about him seemed different. His eyes conveyed an uneasiness that went beyond simple police investigation. "We need to understand what's happening," Father Ernest said, breaking the tense silence. Isabella agreed, feeling that each clue was leading them closer to a secret that seemed to want to be discovered, but at the same time resisted being completely revealed. Night was approaching, and with it came more mysteries. The wolf remained an enigma, the mysterious symbol a riddle, and Oak Ridge Springs waited between fear and curiosity for the next revelation. Something big was about to happen, and no one in the town was prepared for what was to come. Night fell over Oak Ridge Springs like a cloak of mystery. In the old parish residence, Father Ernest and Isabella Montgomery examined the gathered documents, each paper, each fragment of information being analyzed with meticulous attention. A detail caught Isabella's attention, a small marginal drawing in one of the oldest documents, a stylized representation of the wolf, but not as a common animal. It was almost a symbol, an almost mythical representation. "Look," she said, pointing to the drawing, "it's not an ordinary wolf. It seems more symbolic." Father Ernest adjusted his glasses, studying the image. There was something in the representation that went beyond simple illustration. It seemed to carry a hidden meaning, a coded message. At that moment, a noise coming from the garden interrupted their concentration. The curtains moved slightly, as if something or someone had touched them. A shiver ran down both their spines. The story they were investigating gained more and more complexity. The record spoke of an ancient secret society, the Guardians of the Threshold, that had existed in the shadows of the local church for centuries. Their mission? To protect knowledge considered too dangerous to be revealed. Suddenly, the phone rang. It was Sheriff Mark Oliver with disturbing information. "You need to come to the station immediately," he said, his voice laden with tension. "We've found something that will change everything you think you know." Upon arriving at the police station, Mark revealed a series of documents he had discovered in a secret investigation. Old files, some typed, others handwritten, that seemed to connect strange events in the town over the past 2 centuries. One document in particular caught their attention. Dated 1842, it spoke of a protection ritual, a kind of ancestral pact that involved the town, the church, and something that was described as the Guardian of Truth. "The wolf is not just an animal," Mark explained, his voice low and cautious. "It's a symbol, a manifestation of something much deeper." Isabella felt a shiver. Her historical research had always prepared her for surprising discoveries, but this went beyond anything she had ever encountered. That night, something extraordinary happened. While discussing the documents, the black wolf appeared again. This time it wasn't outside. It was in the police station, crossing through the window as if it were made of shadows and mystery. Its eyes, intelligent and penetrating, seemed to carry a message. It wasn't a threat, but a call, an invitation to unravel a mystery that was about to be revealed. Father Ernest, Isabella, and Mark exchanged glances. They knew they were facing something that could completely change their understanding of reality. The wolf remained for a few moments as if observing them. Then, as mysteriously as it had appeared, it disappeared. The night in Oak Ridge Springs promised more secrets, and the mystery was just beginning to unfold. The first light of dawn found Isabella and Father Ernest in the old municipal library. The documents scattered across the table formed a mosaic of mysteries, each fragment seeming to connect in an enigmatic way. The medallion found in the church tower occupied the center of their investigations. Made of a dark, almost black metal, it presented complex engravings that resembled ancient Celtic symbols mixed with medieval religious representations. "Look at the details," said Isabella, using a magnifying glass to examine every millimeter of the object. "These marks are not random. They seem to be a code, a ciphered language." Father Ernest noticed something peculiar. Some of the engravings resembled the symbol found near the site of the attack on Sister Elizabeth, a connection that couldn't be mere coincidence. At that moment, Sheriff Mark Oliver arrived at the library. He brought with him a document that had been found in a secret archive at the town hall, a partially destroyed manuscript, but with intriguing information. "Look at this," he said, carefully unfolding the paper. The document spoke of an ancestral lineage of guardians, people chosen to protect knowledge that, if revealed, could completely transform the understanding of reality. It mentioned a protection ritual performed every century, involving an animal guardian, a clear reference to the black wolf. Isabella felt a shiver. Her historical research had never encountered something so complex and mysterious. Suddenly, the medallion began to emit a soft glow. It wasn't an ordinary glow. It was as if the metal was responding to some invisible energy. The engravings seemed to move, creating hypnotic patterns. "This isn't normal," Father Ernest murmured. At that instant, a partial revelation began to form. The black wolf wasn't just an animal, it was a guardian, part of an ancient protection system that transcended common human understanding. Sheriff Mark then revealed a shocking detail. His family had been secretly linked to this story for generations. His great-grandfather had been one of the guardians, responsible for keeping the secret protected. "Not everyone is prepared to know the truth," he said, his voice laden with historical weight. "Some secrets need to remain hidden to protect humanity." The town of Oak Ridge Springs seemed to breathe mystery. The narrow streets, the old churches, the dusty archives, everything seemed to conspire to reveal and at the same time conceal an ancestral truth. The medallion continued to glow, as if telling a story through its mysterious light. Isabella realized that they were about to unravel something that could completely change their understanding of the world. Night was approaching, bringing with it more questions than answers. The black wolf remained an enigma, observing, waiting, protecting a secret that was about to be revealed. Oak Ridge Springs held a mystery that went far beyond what anyone could imagine, and the truth was about to be discovered. The night in Oak Ridge Springs seemed denser, more laden with mystery. In the old parish house, Father Ernest, Isabella, and Mark organized the discovered documents, each paper revealing new fragments of a complex story. A detail caught Isabella's attention. An ancient parchment, almost destroyed by time, bore a series of symbols and annotations in a language that seemed to belong to no known idiom. "We need to decipher this," she said, her voice trembling slightly with excitement. Mark brought in an expert in ancient linguistics, Professor Richard Allen, a white-haired gentleman with a penetrating gaze. Upon examining the document, his expression changed completely. "This isn't just a text," he explained. "It's a type of record that mixes elements of ritual protection with knowledge that goes beyond the comprehensible." The medallion, placed at the center of the table, continued to emit a strange glow. It seemed to react to the professor's presence as if it had a life of its own. At that moment, a distant sound caught everyone's attention. The howl of a wolf, but not just any howl. It was a sound that seemed to carry a message, an ancestral call. Professor Richard then revealed a shocking detail. That document was part of a set of records that spoke of an ancient order of protection, guardians who existed in the shadows of history, responsible for maintaining a balance between the known and the hidden. "The wolf is not just an animal," he said. "It's a symbol, a manifestation of a much older energy." Isabella felt a shiver run down her spine. Her historical research had never encountered something so complex and mysterious. Suddenly, the medallion began to vibrate. It wasn't a common physical movement. It was as if it was responding to an invisible energy. The engravings seemed to move, creating hypnotic patterns that defied comprehension. Father Ernest noticed something peculiar. The symbol on the medallion connected perfectly with the marks found near the site of the attack on Sister Elizabeth. A connection that couldn't be mere coincidence. Mark then revealed a family secret. His grandfather had been part of an ancient, secret society, responsible for protecting knowledge that could completely transform the understanding of reality. "Not everyone is prepared to know the truth," he said, his voice laden with historical weight. The town seemed to breathe mystery. The narrow streets, the old churches, the dusty archives, everything conspired to reveal and at the same time conceal an ancestral truth. The black wolf, which had disappeared in recent weeks, seemed to be waiting for the right moment. Its presence was felt, even if it wasn't seen. A revelation was about to happen. A secret guarded for generations was about to be unveiled. Oak Ridge Springs remained in suspense, waiting for the moment of the great revelation. And the mystery continued to unfold piece by piece, revelation by revelation. The dawn in Oak Ridge Springs was charged with a different energy. A strange wind blew, making the trees whisper ancient secrets. In the parish house, Father Ernest, Isabella, Mark, and Professor Richard prepared to unravel the mystery that had been pursuing them for weeks. The medallion, now placed on an old map of the region, began to project a peculiar light. It wasn't an ordinary glow, but something that seemed to cross dimensions, creating shadows that danced on the walls. "We're close to something extraordinary," Professor Richard murmured, his eyes shining with a mixture of scientific excitement and reverence. Isabella then discovered a crucial detail in the documents. The medallion wasn't just an object. It was a key to a portal of knowledge that existed beyond common human comprehension. Mark then revealed the truth about his family. Generations of guardians had protected a secret that dated back centuries. Knowledge so powerful that, if fully revealed, could transform reality as they knew it. "The black wolf is not an animal," he explained. "It's a guardian, a manifestation of an ancestral energy responsible for protecting the balance between the known and the hidden." At that moment, an extraordinary sound filled the room. The wolf's howl, once distant, now seemed to come from inside the house itself. The walls began to vibrate, objects trembling slightly. The medallion then projected a sequence of symbols on the floor. They were ancient markings, almost like a dimensional map that went beyond traditional geographic understanding. Father Ernest, with his unwavering faith mixed with scientific curiosity, realized they were about to unravel a mystery that transcended religion, science, and history. "There are worlds beyond what we can see," he said, his voice trembling slightly. "And we're about to gain access to one of them." The medallion's projection then revealed a series of coordinates. They weren't common geographic points, but something that seemed to connect different planes of existence. Isabella noticed something extraordinary. The markings formed a symbol that resembled the black wolf, not as an animal, but as a dimensional guardian. Professor Richard confirmed, "This isn't just a map, it's a portal of knowledge." The black wolf then appeared, no longer as an animal, but as energy that traversed different dimensions. Its eyes carried wisdom that went beyond human understanding. The revelation was near. A secret guarded for generations was about to be unveiled. Oak Ridge Springs would tremble in its deepest structure. The balance between the known and the hidden would be definitively transformed, and the mystery continued to unfold, each revelation bringing more questions, more mysteries, more possibilities. The truth was about to be revealed, and nothing would be the same. The morning light had barely begun to brighten Oak Ridge Springs when an extraordinary event unfolded. The medallion, previously a mysterious object, now pulsed with an almost living energy, creating luminous patterns that danced in the air. Father Ernest, Isabella, Mark, and Professor Richard were united by destiny, witnesses to a moment that transcended common human understanding. The black wolf, in its purest form of dimensional energy, began to reveal the final secret. It wasn't a story, but an experience that crossed different planes of existence. Oak Ridge Springs is more than a town, the Guardian communicated through a language beyond words. It's a point of balance between realities. The revelation came like a tsunami of understanding. The town had been chosen as a protection portal, a place where different dimensions met and where the deepest knowledge of existence was preserved. Isabella then understood the true meaning of her historical quest. It wasn't just an investigation, it was an ancestral call. Her lineage had been prepared for generations for this specific moment. Mark felt the weight of his family heritage. The Guardians didn't just protect a secret, they maintained the balance between different realities. Professor Richard observed, his scientific mind being completely redesigned by the dimensional experience. The medallion then projected the final truth. Oak Ridge Springs was a point of convergence where time and space folded, where past, present, and future existed simultaneously. "You are the guardians of the transition," the black wolf communicated, responsible for maintaining the balance between the known and the unknown. Father Ernest felt his faith completely transformed. The divine wasn't something separate from reality, but part of a much more complex system of existence. The final revelation came as a pulse of energy. The entire town vibrated, as if awakening from a deep sleep. The streets, houses, church, everything revealed its true dimensional nature. Isabella, Mark, Father Ernest, and Professor Richard were chosen to carry this knowledge, not as a burden but as a sacred responsibility. The black wolf began to dissolve, leaving behind only a deep understanding. Reality is much more complex than anyone could imagine. True protection, said the Guardian. Energy lies in the balance between what is known and what remains hidden. The medallion's light intensified for one last moment, revealing fragments of parallel realities, worlds that existed beyond human comprehension, and then silence. Oak Ridge Springs returned to its apparently normal state. But something had changed, forever. The Guardians knew, the town knew, the universe knew. The morning after the revelation dawned differently in Oak Ridge Springs. The air seemed charged with an energy that most inhabitants couldn't quite place, but Isabella, Father Ernest, Mark, and Professor Richard felt it acutely. They gathered in the parish house, each carrying the weight of the knowledge revealed to them. The medallion lay silent on the table, its mysterious glow now dormant. "What do we do now?" Isabella asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Father Ernest looked at each of them in turn, his eyes carrying a newfound wisdom. "We protect the balance," he said simply. "We are the new guardians of Oak Ridge Springs." Mark nodded, feeling the full weight of his family's legacy. "We need to understand our roles," he said. "This responsibility, it's bigger than anything we've ever faced." Professor Richard, always the academic, was already scribbling notes. "We need to document everything," he muttered, "but carefully. This knowledge, it's not for everyone." As they discussed their next steps, a soft knock on the door interrupted them. Sister Elizabeth entered, her face pale but determined. I've been having visions," she said hesitantly. "Of the wolf, of other worlds. I think I'm meant to be part of this." The group exchanged glances. They realized that their circle of guardians was expanding, each person bringing a unique perspective and skill to their sacred duty. Over the next few weeks, Oak Ridge Springs seemed to pulse with a new life. To most it appeared as a charming, quiet town. But to those who knew, every street corner, every old building, every rustle in the trees carried deeper meaning. Isabella dove deeper into the town's history, uncovering layers of truth hidden in plain sight. Ancient symbols carved into cornerstones, patterns in the layout of the streets. Everything seemed to be part of a grand design. Father Ernest found his sermons taking on new depth. Without revealing the full truth, he spoke of interconnectedness, of realities beyond our own, of the importance of balance. His congregation felt the change, responding with a newfound spiritual curiosity. Mark, in his role as sheriff, became more attuned to the town's rhythms. He could sense disturbances in the fabric of reality, subtle shifts that might indicate a thinning of the veil between worlds. Professor Richard established a small, secret archive. Under the guise of local history research, he carefully documented their discoveries, creating a resource for future guardians. And Sister Elizabeth, embracing her new role, became a bridge between the spiritual and the mystical. Her visions provided insights that helped the group navigate their new reality. As autumn approached, bringing with it a palette of golden hues, to Oak Ridge Springs, the Guardians faced their first true test. Strange occurrences began to ripple through the town. Objects moving on their own, glimpses of shadowy figures, whispers in unknown languages. The medallion, dormant since the night of revelation, began to pulse with energy once more. Its symbols shifted and changed, warning of a coming disturbance. "Something's coming," Isabella said one evening, as they gathered in the parish house. "The balance is shifting." Father Ernest nodded gravely. "We need to be prepared. Whatever's coming, it's our duty to face it." As night fell over Oak Ridge Springs, the Guardians prepared themselves. They knew that their journey was just beginning, that the true test of their newfound knowledge and responsibilities lay ahead. The town slept peacefully, unaware of the forces gathering, of the cosmic drama about to unfold on its quiet streets. But in the shadows, in the spaces between realities, something stirred. Oak Ridge Springs stood on the brink of a new chapter, with its guardians ready to face whatever challenges the universe might send their way. The balance must be maintained. The secret must be protected, and the guardians of Oak Ridge Springs would stand firm, guardians of a truth too vast for the world to know.